Then we have Albert or Alberto. Albert is right now at the University of Ica. It's different. Every single being has a different personality, has a different face, has a different body, exactly like humans. This is Albert. We made all the analysis, tomographies, everything we could. We did the DNA. Can you say this is a fake? Can you see this is the head of a llama? And then we have Josephine. Josephine, it's very important, it's a female, and was the first time that we found two things. One, that has eggs inside, and the second is that has a metal in the breast. This is Josephine. It was a big surprise when we took her to the... We thought that a fetus was inside. We never thought that eggs were inside. All of this can be analyzed. We need to take these bodies to the US, to a big university, big scientists, and they can investigate them. Okay, around the eggs you can see irrigation. This is Luisa, another body that we have. You can see the eggs also, Luisa, and you can see how they are irrigated. That's impossible to fake. And we can see, we have seen embryos inside the eggs. Maria is a human-like body with a huge head, 3 fingers in every hand, and the foot. The fingers are long. We're going to have real experts in hand and neck and head after in this presentation. And they will tell you about this. This is so important. This changes history. This is Santiago, one of the bodies that we're going to present live from Lima today. You can see that it's very close like Maria. It's a 3-finger body with a large head, different eyes. We didn't touch this body. We didn't do anything to this body. It was delivered to us. Michael and Serena were there. They can tell you about this. And you will see later on live x-rays, live tomographies. And you will hear the experts talking about this. This changes everything. Can you imagine if they were living with the old humans 1,000 or 2,000 years ago? Did we receive knowledge from them? Or is this a new species? But there is nothing before and nothing after. It's like they appear and disappear suddenly. That's very difficult in nature. In nature you have developments. You will have something before, probably not after if they were extinguished, but before, yes, you have to see slowly this process. Santiago is like a little kid. You will see the fingerprints. The fingerprints are different from humans. That is impossible to fake. You can see the x-rays here. It's like the head of a little boy where there is separation between the different plates of the head. By the way, all this material is going to be available to anyone who wants to see it. We don't have anything to hide. If I were faking this, I wouldn't put it available to everyone. I would try to hide it here and there. No, it's open to everyone. Would you consider I would take the bodies to the Mexican Congress, putting in danger 50 years of career to present fake bodies? Think about that. Because what they've done to me is unacceptable. And I mean the Ministry of Culture. And I mean the media around the world. I'm surprised the media did not check the source of the Ministry of Culture. They would have realized that it was not the same body. I'm not hiding. Okay, this is Sebastian. This is another body that we're going to present today. It has different plates. One in the neck. It has some letters there. We have not been able to identify those letters. I think it's very important. This is very new. This was delivered to us, what, 2 months ago. Yes, we have not done DNA. Yes, we have not done the proper analysis, the carbon-14. We will. But we wanted to present this to the media and to the world. You can see the eyelashes in the eyes. They are so similar to us. Could they be hybrids? Could they have been created by somebody else? Could humans do that 1,000 years ago? 2,000 years ago? I don't think so. You can see the eyelashes there very clearly, all the details. That's the plate in the back. And you can see letters there. The plate was completely covered with diatomea. Diatomea is where they were found, in a mine of diatomea. Diatomea is a phytoplankton plant from the sea. It's fossilized and is used to desiccate. These bodies are desiccated, completely desiccated. They don't have any liquid or oil in their bodies. This is the plate. What is doing there? Why? So many questions. It's fascinating. Sorry, it's fascinating. Instead of opposing this, scientists should be, excited about this. This is something we have been looking for humanity for so many years. And it's in the hands of civil society. It's not in the hands of government to hide. It's open. Let's be happy about this. Okay, these are the bodies that have been found and presented until now. But there is so much more. Believe me, this is not the last press conference. This is not the last time that we are going to be presenting bodies. It's going to be more and more and more. Let's see how the world reacts to this. As I said, I've been humiliated, I've been discredited, I've been defamed, and my lawyer is going to speak about that. Okay. I hope you are enjoying this because this is pure history. You are part of history. There should be here thousands of media. Thousands. This is so important. I have put everything in risk. because this cannot be hide. We found this in 2017. I made different programs, and every time we found so many obstacles. That's why I had to take them to the Congress of Mexico, because David Grosh was talking about bodies remaining from the craft, from the crashes, and the government didn't want to present them. I thought was the time to present them to the public. Sorry, I don't want to extend. There are more things to be said. We're going to have a live stream from the University of Ica, and we will have a live stream from a laboratory in Lima, and you will learn so much more about this. I want to introduce Dr. Rafael Berrocal. He's a top lawyer in Peru. He's going to talk about the legal gaps under the Constitution, the framework of the Constitution. He's a constitutionalist in Peru. He's a top man regarding laws. And he's going to talk now about these legal gaps on the anomalous bodies in the Constitution, not just of Peru, but around the world. Thank you very much.
So a large part of this will be in Spanish, so if you do have your headphones now, it would be a great time to pop them in. If you don't, does anybody need the QR code so that you can log in to hear the translation? Or is everybody good? Everybody's good.
En primer lugar, buenos días a todos los hombres y mujeres del mundo, toda vez que estamos en línea, en comunicación con los medios de comunicación más importantes en este recinto. Veo con tanta pasión, con tanta emoción y con firmeza a Jaime hablar sobre los cuerpos, las criaturas tridáctilas encontrados, hallados en el Perú, en mi país, en el cual me siento orgulloso, fenomenalmente agradecidos al cielo, a la tierra, al mar, a que realmente existen todavía algo por descubrir en nuestro planeta Tierra. Voy a tocar un tema fundamental de criterio jurídico. Vacíos jurídicos desde el marco constitucional. Pero voy a partir, no está por demás, recordar un poco nuestros derechos constitucionales que enmarcan nuestras leyes en todo el mundo. Básicamente voy a partiendo del derecho imperativo universal del hombre en el mundo, es implacable e indiscutible, plasmado en nuestras constituciones de los países del mundo, siendo así el derecho a la vida, el derecho a la libertad, el derecho a no estar sometidos ni a esclavitud, como tampoco a torturas. Es un derecho importantísimo a la libertad y otros aspectos y a la opinión pública. Por ende, la expresión, a la educación, al trabajo, entre otros, estos derechos corresponden a todas las personas sin discriminación alguna en el universo. Sin embargo, aún no está contemplada la regulación de las normativas sobre el derecho a la libertad del conocimiento en diversas materias, así como respaldar las investigaciones científicas sobre los cuerpos anómalos no identificados, como el de las criaturas tridáctilas, para su análisis y investigación con el fin de llegar a la verdad sobre su existencia. Esto, pongo entre comillas, esto limita y mutila un derecho fundamental, el de la libertad a la educación y el acceso al conocimiento. Por ello, invocamos a los gobiernos del mundo a implementar reformas constitucionales que contemplan en las leyes el desarrollo de la ciencia y la oficialización de la divulgación de información de interés de la sociedad desconocidos hasta la fecha. Pues la humanidad tiene el derecho de conocer la existencia de seres no humanos desde antes, durante y después de nuestra existencia. ¿O no tenemos el derecho? Tenemos el derecho fundamental de conocer lo que dijo y lo que es y lo que será la ciencia en el mundo. Es importante precisar
I cannot hear. His microphone is off. The booth apologizes. I cannot hear him. Jaime Maussan, the investigator.
En este caso, el periodista
In this
Jaime
case, the
Maussan
journalist Jaime Maussan
y los profesionales juntos
and
de
professionals
primer
together
nivel, cada uno de
of
ellos
first level, each
impulsan
of
estas
them
investigaciones
foster
sobre los
this
cuerpos
research
anómalos no identificados para
of
determinar si
non-identified
pertenecen
anomalous
a este mundo o a seres
that came
de
to
otros
this world
espacios.
or creatures from other
Lamentablemente,
spaces, and
estos
unfortunately,
investigadores no han
these
contado con el
researchers have
respaldo del
not
Estado
been able
peruano,
to have the
sino que han
support of
sido
the state,
objeto de infamias,
and they have been
insultos y
object
descréditos
to
que atentan
be
contra la dignidad
defamated
humana,
that attempt
calificándolos de
against
mentirosos,
their
entre
professionalism
otros adjetivos
and in
especialmente
other
contra los investigadores y
arenas
contra los
and
investigaciones de los
against
licenciados, los científicos,
scientists,
principalmente Jaime Maussan.
researchers.
Estas afirmaciones y estas acciones se han
These
producido a raíz
affirmations and rights
de declaraciones emitidas por
are
funcionarios del Ministerio de
declarations
Cultura y
issued by
Educación,
public officials
principalmente del Ministerio de
mainly
Cultura, desde el año 2018.
since
Si bien es cierto, esto inicia
2018,
el año 2017, pero en 2018
and
se
in
desencadena con la declaración
2018
del viceministro
there
de
was a
Cultura de ese
declaration
entonces, incluida a la fecha,
included to date
con la participación y intervención
with
de
the
los funcionarios
participation
encabezada con la
and intervention
participación de la ministra de Cultura actual,
of the Ministry of Culture at
Estas
present,
afirmaciones de
and
los
this
representantes del Estado
information
permitieron que se
and these
difundieran a nivel
representations
mundial, causando un gran
have
daño moral,
caused
psicológico,
important
económico a
environmental
la dignidad del licenciado Jaime
damage.
Maussan. Dichas afirmaciones que fueron
And
realizadas
these
sin llevar a
affirmations
cabo
that were carried out
investigaciones serias y
are
reales
serious
sobre los
investigations
cuerpos
and real
están
investigations
bajo custodia de la
and
Universidad
under the
Lica
custody
para su estudio científico.
to be studied for
importante
scientific reasons. And it's
Destacar
also
que
very
el Ministerio de
important
Cultura no realizó análisis de
that
estos
all
cuerpos,
this was
sino
done
de objetos
by the
artesanales
analysis
declarados por sus autores y
declared
no
by their
precisamente de
authors
los cuerpos objeto de
of
investigación
the
científica.
bodies object to the
Por
research.
todo lo mencionado
And for all of
anteriormente,
the above,
se formalizó un proceso
we
judicial
formalized a
iniciando
judicial
un proceso
process
con actos preliminares
with
extrajudiciales
preliminary
para participar
acts
a una
in order to
conciliación con
participate
los responsables del Estado
in
que
a
incurrieron en estos graves
reconciliation
hechos y
with
afirmaciones, por
the
supuesto, con el fin
government
de abordar solución
in
sobre
order
la
to find
reivindicación de
solutions
una demanda indemnizatoria a
of
favor del
an
recurrente
indemnization
Jaime
lawsuit
por la suma de 300 millones de dólares.
for 300
Por
million
El honor
pesos, and I
en
have the
cualquier parte del
honor
mundo no tiene precio, no tiene
to
techo,
tell you
no
that
tiene
this
escala
is priceless. This has no price
para esta
that can be assigned to
atención
it, and for this
y para su atención de los fueros
and for the
judiciales y de las
attention
jurisdicciones legales
of the judges and
hacerse
legal
justicia.
jurisdictions,
Esta indemnización
this
se destinará a
indemnization
la construcción del museo
has to
científico
do with the
y moderno
construction
de Palpa Nazca en la
of
región de Ica a beneficio de
the
todos los peruanos y de
Palpanasta
toda la
region,
humanidad. Eso lo ha dispuesto
and
el
that
recurrente de esta demanda, Jaime
has
Maussan Flota.
been
A los hombres y
mentioned.
mujeres del mundo,
To men and women of the
debo
world,
añadir y debo pedirles
I
desde
have
este
to add
premio,
and I have to
nunca
ask
deben
you
permitir que vulneren el derecho
to
fundamental en
please
cualquier parte del
don't
mundo.
eliminate
Para eso
the
existen
right.
nuestras leyes,
And that's
a
why
las
laws
cuales
do
debemos acudir y
exist,
por
that
supuesto
we
es
have
necesario
to
perfeccionarlas para
perfect
abordar
the
casos complejos y relevantes
rights and
así
the laws,
como este caso, los cuerpos anómalos
like in this
no
case,
identificados que deben
to
ser
rule
tratados
over
con dirección de
anomalous
investigación
bodies,
científica con
and
el
there
fin
is
de
scientific
declararlos luego como
uh,
patrimonio de la humanidad
then
en el
human
beneficio de la
kindness
sociedad en su conjunto, como debería de ser, porque
as
todos
it should
tenemos
be.
el derecho imperativo
And this is
de
an
no
imperative
limitarnos a
right.
encontrar nuestros
And there
conocimientos
is the
por
importance of
nuestros
the knowledge
descendientes, para nuestros
in order,
descendientes y para
so
todos
for our
el mundo.
descendants.
Muchísimas gracias por su fina atención.
Thank you so much for your time and your attention.
Thank you so much, Rafael.
Efectivamente, se ha presentado una demanda por $300 millones al gobierno del Perú. Creo que esta es la primera ocasión en el mundo, en la historia, que la sociedad civil demanda a un gobierno por distorsionar
present a
o
lawsuit of a
ocultar la
government for
información.
distorting,
Sin embargo, hacemos un llamado al
and
gobierno del Perú para poder
we are
conciliar.
calling the Peruvian government,
Nosotros lo que deseamos es,
and that's
en
what we
primer lugar,
wish. What we
continuar la
wish
investigación,
is
no
to
solamente de los
continue
cuerpos
with our
presentados,
research,
sino de todos aquellos
but
que
we
se irán
also
presentando. Hay muchos
those
cuerpos más.
that are here.
El
There's
hallazgo
many
es
more
masivo. Ya lo escucharon
bodies
ustedes,
here,
masivo.
and
Esto no
this
se
is
va a
massive,
poder ocultar.
and we're not going
Además
to
de
be
investigarlos,
able
queremos
to
preservarlos.
hide the truth.
Estos
We're not
cuerpos,
going to be able to
desde el día
hide
que fueron
them of these
extraídos del lugar
bodies.
donde se
They are being
encontraban en las minas de
extracted
Chapomea, se están
in,
degradando.
they have been
Pronto, si no se hace nada,
dried
se
or
convertirán en
desiccated
polvo.
because
Serán
of
rompiendo, serán
of
deshaciendo,
the
y finalmente se
the
convertirán en polvo. Son
atomies
cuerpos que tienen 1000 o
and the
2000 años de
autonomous earth,
antigüedad. Considérenlo ustedes.
and
Y en
these
tercer
are
lugar,
bodies that we have to research.
exhibirlos a todo el mundo.
We have to
En
show them
beneficio
throughout
de
the
los
world.
habitantes de Nazca y de Palpa,
We have
que es a los que realmente
to
se les debe atribuir este beneficio.
should attribute this
Aquí nosotros
benefit.
lo que queremos realmente es
This is
poder
what we have
propiciar
here,
un cambio de la historia.
to be able to make a change in
No tenemos
history.
ninguna otra intención y que
We
quede
don't
muy
want
claro.
and we have no other
Yo
intention.
amo profundamente al Perú.
I
Yo
love
no estoy en
Peru
contra del
deeply.
gobierno del Perú. Yo
I
estoy a
love the
favor de la
Peruvian
verdad.
government
Una verdad tan importante.
and such an
Espero que se den
important truth,
cuenta lo grave que es esta distorsión de
and
los
how
hechos.
serious
Se
is
encuentran
this
seres
distortion,
extraños, posiblemente una nueva especie,
because this
posiblemente
is a new species.
extraterrestres, ¿por qué no?
Maybe they could be aliens. Why not?
Desde el primer día en
And
que
from day number
Gaia.com, y
one,
quiero agradecer profundamente
I
y
want to thank
públicamente
deeply
a
and
Gaia.com,
publicly
que fue la empresa que creyó en esto.
the company that
Gracias
believed
a
in
ellos y
us,
solo a ellos
Gaia,
se
and
pudo
only
realizar
them,
la primera parte
and
de esta
thanks to
investigación que
them,
fue definitiva.
we were able to do the
Desde el primer
first
día
part
que
of the
Gaia.com
research.
exhibió estos hallazgos,
And they
los
received these
antropólogos y
findings,
arqueólogos de Perú
and all
se
people in
rebelaron en
Peru,
contra de esto. Al día siguiente estaban escribiendo una
the
carta
next
que
day,
yo
they
había
were
hecho un
writing a
fraude, que
letter
yo le había cortado los dedos
that
en
I had
Bulgaria
cut
y
the
en Egipto,
fingers,
había puesto sobre
and I
los
had
dedos
overposed
más grandes. Eso es imposible.
and other fingers to make these fingers larger, and this is
Entonces,
not true.
pues que quede muy claro y lo dije en español,
So it has to
perdonen,
be clear, and I said it
porque
in
debo de
Spanish.
ser muy puntual en
We
lo que
have
estoy
to be
diciendo.
very accurate
El inglés es
in
mi
what's
segunda
being
lengua
said,
y quiero ser muy claro
and I
en
want to
esto
be
que es
very
tan
accurate
relevante. I'm so sorry I spoke in
because
Spanish,
this is so
but I had to
relevant.
do it because this was very important for me to say. Okay, now we go to Mexico City, where is Dr. Salce. Who is Dr. Salce? Dr. Salce, he's a doctor, a physician that was formed by the Navy in Mexico. He became the forensic expert of the Navy of Mexico. He became a former director of 42 hospitals or 46 hospitals of the Navy in Mexico. It's not just anybody. We are talking about one of the big experts of Mexico. And he had the courage to participate in this investigation from the very beginning. And he has been punished because of that. I don't want to speak deeply. He has to, but he has been punished. Okay? And let's go then to Mexico City. Are you ready? ¿Están listos en México para iniciar la transmisión, por favor?
Are you ready, Mexico, for the transmission? Yes, we are.
¿Listo? Sí.
Ready?
Adelante.
Please, go ahead.
Good morning, everybody. It is an honor to be in this research since the beginning in 2017 and to have the privilege to knowing and studying these tridactyl bodies. I will give my testimony in Spanish for being a
Louder.
Mexican
Porque
scientist.
soy un científico
Muy buenos días.
mexicano.
En esta exposición los llevaré por un resumen de lo más relevante en la descripción estructural de diversos cuerpos tridáctilos, los cuales se encuentran perfectamente conservados de manera natural por el proceso de desecación a base de polvo de diatomeas. Nuestro primer espécimen, denominado Josefina, es un cuerpo tridáctilo de características humanoides, donde puede verse estructuras como son cráneo, tórax, abdomen y extremidades tridáctilas. Lo más relevante de este cuerpo de 60 centímetros de altura es que su cráneo es alargado y se encuentra unido al cuello de manera central a través del agujero magno de características cúbicas, lo cual lo hace completamente diferente a cualquier otro. En el pecho podemos observar un implante donde se identifican metales como el cadmio, el oro, el cobre y la plata de pureza superior al 95%. Esta aleación se encuentra adosada a la piel de manera biofuncional sin producir reacción o rechazo en ella. En el abdomen se identifican 3 huevos de diferentes tamaños en distinta etapa de gestación. Esto nos permite observar que en su estructura hay una completa integridad de elementos de unión y armonía, lo cual lo hace completamente original. Las articulaciones son armónicas y funcionales. Los extremos óseos
to retract as turtles. The next
En esta
specimen
imagen
is
podemos
named
ver el
tridactyl,
movimiento de mi
is
mano
named
para
Clara. We
demostrar
can
que
see my
esta
hand moving to
fluoroscopía
show
es un
that this
procedimiento que
fluoroscopy
permite ver
is a
en tiempo
procedure
real
that allows
las
to see
estructuras
in
óseas.
real
Aquí
time
podemos identificar
the
correctamente
bone
y
structures,
claramente
and we can
que no hay
identify
ningún
clearly that
elemento
there's
de armado
no
artificial.
element
De
of
igual manera,
artificial
podemos
assembly.
observar
We can
en el
also see
brazo que hay un
in the
tabique interóseo,
hand, in the
el cual es de gran
arm,
relevancia porque puede hablar
the
de la
bone. It's very
evolución
relevant.
o de
It's
la
something that we can
involución
see
de la
for
separación de los
evolution or
huesos del
involution of the
antebrazo.
separation of the
También tuvimos
bones
como
within the
piezas
hands. We also
sueltas
had
manos de
different
45
separate
centímetros o más.
pieces,
Estas manos
hands
son
of 50
impactantes e
centimeters or
impresionantes,
more.
ya
These
que
hands are
permiten
impressive and amazing
determinar la
because they
existencia
also
de
have
6
and show the
falanges,
existence of
haciéndolas
6 phalanges,
demasiado largas
that it is
y
making it
confirman el
so
movimiento
long, and
de
they're confirming movement of grasping things. Some of these hands have some metallic implants.
de lo que se describió hace rato con casi
That is something that was
nuestro siguiente espécimen
explained previously, and our next specimen was Maria. Is Maria. This body is impacting, and it's similar to human features. It has bones, and it's similar to primate family. It has some characteristics that are similar to the chimpanzee. It has
de más masa encefálica.
more head
Órbitas oculares son de mayor tamaño,
bone, and
auriculares y en su cuerpo no
it doesn't have ears, and in its body we did not find
podemos identificar la característica
breasts, and we can also
es la tridactilia. Esta
find the tridactyl, the 6 phalanges, and a metatars, and also in the foot we can see the arc of the foot, where the terminations of the fingers we can find digital
únicas en la naturaleza.
prints that are unique for them in nature. We can see also the next body that is called Santiago, which is also has 3 phalanges in its body. In his skull, we can find that it also has a separation of the bones of the skull, but we can see also the teeth, temporary teeth and permanent teeth of a young or child body. We also have Sebastian, that is also a body similar to Maria and Santiago, but it's not that long. In this body we can see the bones. What it doesn't allow the body to detach from the head to detach from the body. So it's something that we can see, and it's similar as Santiago. Sebastian is seated and it is mixed. On the other side, we have the skull and hands that we can see deeply, and we can identify some plaques, metal plates that we can see right now. That is something like for decoration. So something that we should consider is to recognize and study these tridactyl bodies, and the public ministry of the Republic of Peru see that they have 3 DNAs, and they can recognize the biology of these 3, and they are also mentioning that it is not possible to say anything about this because it's an DNA that it is not human. This is relevant because they're accepting that we're speaking about a completely different person. They are also recognizing to check this with specialists about other types of specimens or organisms, recognizing that they are different. We're speaking about organisms that at a certain moment are considered something that is not handcrafted or dolls. So my conclusions and something that I would like to say that first of all, we can find bodies that are 100% real, organic, functional, with a skull structure, harmonic, functional, and that some were adults in their reproductive stage. As a second conclusion, we can see the possibility of recognizing that we are analyzing species that are not described in the taxonomic tree of specimens, that we should study the ascendants or descendants or inheritance. Third, if it's not possible to mention the relationship of the species, then we have the opportunity to accept and recognize that we are before bodies of species that do not correspond to strictly in what exists in science currently. This is something that we should consider to analyze these bodies before they degrade so that we can have more knowledge, more information to what we're seeing and to be able to classify them as what they are. Thank you so much for your time and your attention.
Okay. Now, I think we can go to Peru, to the University of Ica. The University of Ica is the most important in the area where these bodies were found. That's why they are there. They have been there since 2019. They've been investigating these bodies for 4 years. Can you think, just for a second, that 11 scientists would sign a letter saying that these bodies are real after 4 years of investigations if they were not? Okay, let's go to Fernando Correa, a reporter who has been participating in this investigation from the very beginning with me. We went together to Peru in 2017. Okay, Fernando, go ahead.
Thank you, Jaime. How are you today? I'm Fernando Correa Domingos. I'm here live and directly from the University San Luis Gonzaga in the city of Ica, Peru, where we received these bodies and they have been investigated since August of 2019. We will go directly with Dr. Roger Zúñiga, who has been the main researcher, coordinator of investigators, and we will speak about the tridactyl body named Maria, this being. Go ahead, Dr. Zúñiga. What are we seeing here? We are seeing a body, desiccated body named Maria. This was delivered 1st of August of 2019. Since that date, we started investigating and we found the surprise that it is a body that has no comparison to any human being or sapient body. It's a different body, exceptional, that is no comparison to any species that it is existing right now. Definitely that it is tridactyl, that it has 3 hands in 3 fingers in hands and feet. It's one of the features that are impressive, and also the head that is long. What else? We can see in the description also the body, the head, fundamentally, and the extremities in the upper body. We can see the head, that is a different head from the human being. It is a long head with the forehead completely uh, sent like to the back of the part. It also has different things that are similar to reptiles. It is scaled and it doesn't have a hair. It has never had hair because there's no part that we can see that it had hair. There's also the side that it doesn't have an ear. It has the hole so that he can most certainly hear when she was alive. And or it was alive. Then we have the eye ball, or the eye, where the eye should be, that is very big, and it had maybe eyes that came out of the body, and the eye socket is too big. And here we can also see, and it's very important, that it has its lower teeth over the upper teeth. It's similar as other non-human beings like anthropoids. Also, we have in the upper body extremities, we have three fingers, and these fingers are completely original, authentic, because it has never been manipulated. They have no assembly or any type of glue, right? We have these fingers, three fingers with four phalanges in each finger, and in the arm there's a separation that is not human from the radius and cubitus, that we can also see the radius that is completely different. Here we can see the finger. This finger is about to fall, and we can see a tendon. We can see the end of the fingers, of the phalanges also here. This is about 90 degrees, and this allows us to know that this being could walk, and he did not put the entire foot on the floor, but only the fingers. And also we can see the fingerprints also, and at the end we will see that it is completely different from the human. The fingerprint is horizontal, and it is not like ours, that is like circles. So we have the body that no one has assembled, modified, falsified. Is completely natural, and the world should know that we're showing something that is real, so that the people know that it's not only us who live. We are not alone. We are accompanied by beings that are different from us. According to the carbon 14, it is from 1,700 before Christ, after Christ, AC, and like 1,000 years old, and it is something that we should see. Let's get back. Also, let's call Dr. Edgar Fernandez, that also participated, please, so that we can hear his explanations. And the first thing that we will ask, thanks, Dr. Edgar. I'm a radiologist, and I would like to start an anatomist. I would like to start with the hands, and I would like to ask you, through the studies that you have been performing to this body, have you found something that it has been manipulated? Well, we saw things that are similar to human beings and different to human beings. For example, the hands, the three fingers, and there's this separation of the radius and cubitus. And on the tibia, there's also something so particular. The backbone is completely different. You have these samples. Can you please help us if we can see detail? Something common from the people that do not support this type of research tell that this was modified, right? But to make sure, I made a test with this human foot, and what we can see that is completely different are the joints. As you can see, the different steps, and we can see the manipulation. When there's a radiography of hands and foot, we can see that maybe a normal person cannot see this, but a radiologist can realize that this is completely different. This also happens with the hand. We can see the first, we took out the first and last finger, and we can see the differences. That here, we can see that here there's a manipulation. With the extraction of fingers, with the different considerations, we can see that there has been a modification. Something that we should know also, if you can show us or describe, doctor, here something that we have is completely different. Here, there's a head study to show as scientific evidence. This is the head of Maria. It has something human and something different for this cephalometric or head study. There's diameters, something that is used as craniometric points to measure the head, and it is something, it's a diameter that is not considered human. And this is something that is considered to be able to see the measures, normal measures. And the skull and the face, as we can see, is completely different than the human. In the human, the normal volume of skull and face is 1. This is a human, 1 of 1. And in Maria, we can see the difference of the skull is 1,995 cubic centimeters. And we can see that there's an increase of a 30% of head mass, and it is something that this specimen has, and it can be bigger, right? We can see that it is bigger. The next slide says that it has also an alteration according to the face. The maxillary is completely in front of what we call a protrusion to the maxillar face, and the angle is the normal one is 82, right? And the one of Maria is 108. What we can see, it is that it's displaced to the front, and it is something that is completely different. We also find that it was completely different. It has prognatism, and it has 2 conditions. These 2 conditions are not that common in human beings, and this is something that is telling us that it is not a human being. Also, something important, it is the socket, the eye socket, that normally this socket should be smaller, and it is something that we can see that the orbit is on a certain way out of the body. This is the face of Maria. It has an eye protrusion. And aside from all of the technical definition, scientific definition, this is something that we showed you. And to continue with the dynamic of this presentation, let's call Dr. Daniel. That is one of the specialists that has been closer to Maria, this specimen, so that he can explain all of the details. If you can please stand here. What is your specialty? I'm professor of the medicine department, and I'm retired.
These X-rays, and before we start, I want to thank so much for allowing me to be here on December 4th of 2019, around 2015. They brought to my diagnosis center a specimen together with others for radiographic to take radiographies, and this body, our specimen, characterized called as Maria, has three basic segments: the skull, the thoracic abdominal, and the extremities. And you can see in the upper part of the skull is divided in two core parts: the cranial area and the base of the cranium. And in the skull, you can see the internal and the external part, separating a radiological image of the spine medulla. Then we can have the radiotransparent parts in the base of the cranium, in the medium and the front and the back floor. You can see the Turkish seat that has the hypophysis. So this specimen had internal secretion. The hypophysis regulates all the endocrinological system of a human being. In the face, we have the upper maxilla with the teeth, and in the bottom maxilla, we have the neck, and the cervical neck cannot be seen very well because of the position. In the thorax, we can see the backbone, and in the upper part, we can see the upper extremities and the inferior extremities that have been intertwined, and calling the attention of the upper extremities and the hands that have only 3 fingers. And on the backbone, we can see between D7 and D8, the intervertebral spaces, they diminish, and with the dactylar would indicate that this backbone has had acquired alterations. Thank you so much, Dr. Daniel Mendoza. We continue with this dynamic because we have a couple more minutes here in Nika, and we're going to call Dr. Zuniga so he can be the one that will give us a very accurate summary of the results of the specimen regarding the DNA results. Tell us, please. What I wanted is to add that all the DNA results have been done by university, but the DNA is a test that has been done not in the university, and the results have biotechnological information. And I would like to add, this is where everybody can see the results, and I'm going to show you the specimen, Maria, and here you can see the results. There's 4 genomes. First of all, the mummy, if we did a DNA test, it has 1,800 years ago and 1,700 years ago. It has 4 different genomes. 30% DNA is human, 30% of a combination of chimpanzee with a bonobo, and a 30% of an unknown DNA. This is natural because we have seen in the right-hand side where we have a hybridation of the genome, but done in the lab, where we've put the genome of human beings in combination with chimpanzees, but that's been done in the lab. It's not reproducible. So in this occasion, as member of the research team of these bodies, we are inviting scientists to add to our research to do another research of DNA. Therefore, we could continue adding to science. And to conclude, we're going to go quickly to the images of the dactylar fingerprints. And Dr. Zuniga, we are about to send the signal to the city of Lima, the capital of Peru, but an important difference here, doctor, is the dactylar, the fingerprints. Here we have the feet, and there you can see that we visibly have the lines that are horizontal. They are not in spirals as human beings. In these fingerprints, here we can see it more clearly. These are fingerprints, and we can clearly see that there is no similarities to humans, and that is what we wanted to inform you, that in other occasions we had a larger base, but here we can see the fingerprints. For example, with gorilla, you have koalas and mans, and these are very similar. They're spiral, but in Maria and the other bodies have no similarities on their fingerprints with these anthropoids. Thank you so much, Dr. Roger Zuniga. Without precedence, you saw it. And this, we're going to give you the signal back. Fernando Correa Martinez, investigator journalist, will continue in Lima, Peru. Please stay. There's more to show you. And we're going to verify if the link is available. And we are still here from one moment to the next. We are going to go with our research colleague, George Mantilla. And I'd like to take advantage to congratulate scientists, doctors, and the doctors of ICA at the Luis Gonzalez Hospital. Thank you. We're transmitting from the city of Lima. And they have given us their facilities to take the tomography so the body can look at these tridactyl bodies, if you can move them so the audience can see. This is called Sebastian, and this is called Santiago. We're estimating that Santiago is younger. This is Sebastian. But the knowledge of science, why have they been mutilated? The scientists have always said that these bodies, and we have an expert, we have a forensic expert, and we have a diagnosis, and they are revealing. So we have Dr. David Wills and Dr. Ricardo Nicama, one of the most important specialists and physicians. How are you? And these conditions are a little bit tight in the place. Good afternoon. What is the diagnosis that you can obtain by seeing this body? What we can observe is where the tomography, in this tomography, is the eye socket is larger than the inside socket in both sockets. You can see the area of the zone is a nose that has very small openings. When you see the bone structure, that it has all the constitution of a skull that is very similar to a human skull. Here you can see the mandibula. What calls our attention are the metal plates. We're going to zoom towards the neck. This is similar to some implants that we have been able to find. These are implants over the body that we have found in other creatures. It had bone growth around it. In Cusco. So Sebastian, what it has is two impacts in its clavicular. So when we do this reconstruction, we can see two other metallic structures in the neck, in both collarbones. This is impressive. This definitely is something different. This is what we can underscore at the level of the eye sockets, as well as around the collarbones. Here we see the head and the neck. The fact that there are 3 fingers is something that has been deviated. So these, after 3 years of residency, what I can tell you is the manipulation that could happen in these fingers. These fingers are complete. They have not been manipulated. There's no sign that they have been manipulated. There's no question that these are tridactylous bodies. Here you can see the hands and the feet of Santiago, because we can see different age, that Santiago and the other body have different ages. So one would be between 7 and 9. So we have a perspective of our human paradigm, but there's no signs of having been any fingers being removed. These images don't show any signs of having removed the fingers. The whole articulation is coherent with 3 fingers. So this is a correlation, an interbone correlation, and there's no evidence of any bones to have been removed, not even post-mortem. This is totally discarded. If they talk this way, it means that they have no idea of human anatomy, pre-mortem or post-mortem. Simply saying this is a mutilated body and this is another fraud is not true. We are experts in plastic surgery, and I'm the president of the Legal Medicine Peru, and they belong to the bodies that we're seeing. And now please show us, Sebastian, this part, because we thought initially that the neck had a lesion because of the metal on the neck to put it together, the head with the body, but there's no evidence showing us that there was any problem there. But remember also that the tissue holds the body, so when it's dry, this that you see in the bodies loses the humidity because of the atomite earth that dried it. And it has an absence of the sternum. And also, I was surprised that ribs join towards the front, like in a circle. From
un huesito muy sutil, este es el esternón. Vamos a ir desplazándonos nosotros, vamos a ir desplazándonos al otro ambiente donde estamos con los cuerpos, porque vamos a tener un acercamiento de ellos. Una cosa, como hemos dicho, los científicos pueden opinar desde su casa, desde el móvil, sentados en cualquier lugar, y hacer comunicados y decir que esto es falso. Sin embargo, ninguno ha tenido el valor, y se los digo aquí, desde Lima, no han tenido el valor como estos profesionales para poder acercarse a esta investigación y despejar sus dudas, porque ustedes pueden traer todas las dudas y cuestionamientos que quieran. La única manera de